Hello, hello, it's Blue coming to you live from the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia. And we once again have an episode of the Altered Community Chat. This time around, as previously mentioned in another video you should watch, like, and comment to, do it now, we get into discussing being a bit judgy. No, I'm not talking about grandma when she's had one too many glasses of eggnog at the holiday party. I'm talking about being a judge within Altered. Simon and Cole, as one of the first official judges for Altered within North America at the PAX Unplugged events, give us insight to their experiences, the difficulties of being a judge in a trading card game, and what they are looking to see now and in the future for the judging community of Altered. I hope you enjoy the behind the scenes info about this part of our community, and be sure to reach out to your local game store if you want to start being a judge. Until the next time, pretty please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in play on the next day. All right, kind of moving away a little bit from the TO side of
Sure.
things. Yeah, Simon, you kind of mentioned this a little bit
Mhm.
at the start of things, but what are some of your other interests within the Altered community as a whole, other than the event organization and playing the game, I guess?
So I think that Altered right now has a very interesting community that it's starting to build up. And I think that it needs a lot of direction for the way that it's supposed to go in the future. I think the event organization is a strong way to take it, but with the onset of competitive events that we've seen, just in this Beyond the Gates, as well as the future events that we'll hopefully be getting, I know that they've talked about running some sort of store championships in the future where there can be local level competitive events. I don't know when that'll be happening though. Probably set three if I had to guess. But we've also had talks of larger scale events, and Europe has had some very large events. So when the time comes for North America to have those, I think one thing that's really important is to have a healthy and knowledgeable judging community for the game, because you need judges for events to make sure things run smoothly. But not only that, you need to make sure that you have multiple judges so that things can be done the correct way. So I think that making sure that there are players that have an interest in judging and like learning the rules and making sure events run smoothly, I think that's something that we really need, and it's something that I have a really vested interest in as somebody that has a lot of judging experience from other card games.
Yeah, I want to do everything and all of the things. I think judging is one that's really good to call out. I would like to take more time to sit down and read through specific interactions so that I can have them off the top of my head. But I will say, even if I am not as strong in the rules specifically as some people, I think a lot of people don't realize that judging takes a lot different mentality than just knowing
Absolutely.
the rules. And I also judge for Star Wars, well, previously, probably won't anymore, and have interacted with that community. There are a lot of people that want to judge just to get perks. And
Hmm.
my personal opinion is that
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, that is the wrong way to look at it. I look at it as a
Agreed.
job. It's
Yeah.
something that I've made a separate resume to my professional resume. So I want to keep doing that. I mean, I would love to work directly for the company, especially now that I am unemployed at the end of the month. So yeah, and just more content. I want to make more content. I guess I can play in Europe on Monday.
Yeah, there you go. You get to
uh,
join the Monday AWOL events. You
yeah,
already
I
have an
think I
invite though, so you just get to Grinch people out of their other invites.
yeah, I think I have an interview at like 2, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
Plus, you're super tall, so people have to respect you as the judge, right? Even if you don't know anything.
Absolutely.
True.
Cole's 7'5".
So,
True.
fair enough. Like, what are they going to do? Like, jump up at you? It's not going to happen. Either way. Um, I guess before getting into that judging experience that you both mentioned and just general info about being a judge, first off, just wanted to say thanks for all the updates and collection of information from PAX U provided through the Discord. especially while you were working, and during the event and all that good stuff. And also the notes, and I think you have a spreadsheet going on, right, Cole? That we could probably link for everybody in the description. But just going from there, while we're talking about that and judging in PAX U, any favorite part or parts from PAX U, Simon?
Favorite part or parts from PAX Unplugged? Um, I had a really, really, really good time helping with the Hero's Journey events at PAX Unplugged, which were the main competitive events each day. But my guilty pleasure favorite part was when I got to step in for the boss battles to give a break to the community manager and community builder. And I got to play with a very fun Equinox created deck and make people's dreams get crushed and watch the life bleed out of their eyes as they realize they would not be getting the special convention exclusive playmat because I was simply beating them. There is something to be said about being a villain in someone else's story, and it was quite enjoyable to be that at PAX Unplugged.
I just realized that I also got laid off from being the boss, so I just have the best luck. I sat down because Moon wasn't back yet, and I
Fair.
like shuffled and got ready, and then she came back and was like, "I'm here, I can do it," and I was like, "Oh, fired again."
Unfortunate.
Wait, did you get laid
Uh,
off during the event?
yeah, yep. I had to go back
That
to my main job. I did not get to be the boss, but I'm glad Simon did. Uh, we talking the whole weekend or specifically just at the event?
Let's go the whole weekend. If you can find something outside of the event that you found enjoyable, let's go
hmm,
for it.
Mm, when
hmm.
Simon says that he is a lightweight, he is very correct and did not drink very much, but started swearing a lot more after the like one glass or whatever it was. So Simon is always very positive, very happy, but there were a lot of swear words that
I'm
happened after
surprised
that.
you picked up on that. I'm very surprised you picked up on that. And this is the first I'm hearing of it too. And we spent like a full day together afterwards as well. So putting me on the spot here in this interview, I see.
Yeah, gotta have some little information there for the fans. During the event, I would say the fact that we had Lua and Anna there was really great, especially because after the event, they have continued to connect with the game
Yeah.
and been active, which I really like to see instead of, someone taking the cash, doing the 2 hours, and then running off and not caring.
The
Um,
fact the fact that Lua has been in the main Discord multiple times asking for information, talking about wanting to do events, getting connected with the local community is like something that I think is a really big positive for the game because like you said, sometimes people will just do it for the paycheck. For those that don't know, those two were our cosplayers at PAX Unplugged. They were dressed up as Kojo and Navenka. Um, and they had a great time. They were doing boss battles all weekend and they recruited a bunch of their friends to learn how to play the game throughout the weekend. Just wanted to chime in for a second there. Sorry to steal your thunder, Cole,
no,
but
this is back and forth. We're playing table tennis.
we're playing a game of Altered. It's afternoon. We're each taking our turns playing our actions, but who's gonna run out of mana first? It's not gonna be me.
I'm the tumult
Uh,
because I'm in the middle.
I play ramp, so I don't know.
That
It
means you
might
just
be
play a that means you just play a big card every turn, so I get to take a lot more miniature
uh,
actions.
Tiny Jin is probably actually my favorite card in the whole game, but that's a different conversation. The 2v2 I would say was a really good surprise. I'll be blunt that we were getting kind of worried about the turnout after the very first tournament. The very first tournament, I think we had over 20 people,
It was 22 for the first tournament, yeah.
which was great. But after that, we had a really hard time for the like standard 1v1s to get to 20. But the 2v2 was very popular, and it kind of seems like that's what people came for, which was dope. We had a total of 20 8 people, either 13 or 14 teams
We
or
had
something like that.
16 teams for the 2v2. We had
Oh yeah,
32 people playing in the 2v2. It was great.
yeah,
It was the perfect tournament number.
yeah. So that was really cool. And yeah, it was a great week. Meeting everyone. Um, there was, I think I already mentioned it on the podcast, but now I forgot where my brain was going. So I don't know. Maybe it'll come back. There was something else, but that probably works for now until my brain catches back up.
Yeah, you can always just shout it out when Simon's talking, no big deal. But yeah, no,
Exactly.
I'm glad we were able to archive Simon's drinking ability, 2v2 stuff. I believe a guy trying is going to do an interview with the winners of that here pretty soon.
Yeah.
He's going to
They're
post
all
a
at the
video about it.
same LGS, so he
Yeah,
should. Yeah.
yeah, he mentioned that, so that'll be cool to see and see what their thought process was on their decks and everything at one point. So be sure to check that out once that comes out. But yeah, past PAX U and everything like that. Let's get into a little bit more as far as judging is concerned with Altered. We
Hmm.
touched that a little bit. As far as being a judge, I guess, at PAX Unplugged and just in general, Simon, I know you've done some judge work
Yeah.
previously for other games, and Cole, I know you mentioned you did some stuff for Star Wars. Is there anything else that you've done judging for, and how has that interest come about while you were playing card games and for Altered as a whole?
I just think that people need to have people that are willing to run events. Like everybody wants to say that they'll play in events, but nobody wants to take that first step themselves. And I am more than happy to be the type of person that provides that community space for people through tournaments. And I usually will take on a dual aspect judge slash tournament organizer role for things. So for me, that was just a natural progression. Oh, people want to play Altered locally. Well, I know nobody else is going to get it set up if I don't, so I'll take care of those sorts of things. Same thing with these larger events. Oh, people want to play in these large scale tournaments that have competitive prizing. More people are going to be interested in the prizing. I'm interested in making sure that other people have a good time playing. I'll lean towards judging for that.
Yeah, I feel we are very similar. I actually don't want to judge. And I think that's why I can be a good judge is because of that. I don't want to, take control over people. I don't want to reprimand people. I really just like teaching the game and
Sure.
interacting with the community. Um, but judging is kind of the next step up from just doing learn to play demos.
Hmm.
And I like learning more. And with the altered community, everyone was really great. I did not have anything even close to an argument or anything like that. We technically only had to give out one reminder, but it was one that was the player decided, like, yes, I want to do this, and both
Yeah.
players agreed. So it wasn't like the player was doing something bad. It was just an error in the game.
And I'm gonna back up Cole on this. The players absolutely made PAX Unplugged a great event. We didn't have any issues whatsoever with them throughout the weekend, and they were electric, literally the entire weekend. So the fact that we had such a good experience on that end is unlike any other card game event I've experienced, because usually there's going to be some sort of sour grapes one way or another, whether it be somebody losing or somebody not agreeing with a ruling, just different things like that. Even the quote unquote like more hostile people this past weekend were like probably on the low end of games that I've judged with before. Like it was such a non-factor and I was just happy to be able to help with it. So they rocked this past weekend, had an absolutely great time with them.
Nice.
I have only judged one Star Wars event and one altered event, so I guess it's 1-to-1. But at the very first Star Wars event I judged, I had to tell someone to stop talking. So a lot higher of
Look,
issues when it comes to Star Wars players in my
once
limited experience.
once you got to disqualify somebody for cheating, your opinion changes on a lot of things. And I have been on that side of the judge scale before. So, altered being what it was this past weekend was like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
And,
I don't know if we have the question specifically because I'm kind of just following them along. But
Hmm.
on that note, one of the things that really kind of irks me on how players react to judging is when you
Hmm.
tell them they need to make a move.
Ah,
Like, I understand, like, there's someone over your shoulder saying, hey, you need to make a move. But where both games, Star Wars and Altered, are kind of in like a season 0 or whatever,
mhm.
it's a lot more lax. And I think a lot of players need to realize when someone says that to you, you are eating the other person's time up. The
Yeah.
match is timed. If you take over a minute to do one single turn, you are effectively eating into your opponent's time and like walling them out. So, people should be considerate. I know people aren't super considerate, but if you're just in your own head, just think, oh, I'm stealing time from the other person. So,
I have hot takes about people that play slow in
Well,
every game.
well, that does actually get into our next question. So thanks, Cole. Appreciate that. But real before we get into that, when you told that other person to be quiet, did you like place your finger up against their lips and just say shush, or
Shh.
no? No.
no, I mean, so it goes into judging and judge rules, so I'll kind of explain it. But basically, different TCGs have different rules on asking your player to concede. Some of them, absolutely not. You're not allowed to ask your player to concede. Some of them are like you can offer it. If they say no, you're supposed to drop it. Star Wars is the second one where you can say like, "Hey, we're running out of time. Would you like to concede?" If the other player says no, you're supposed to drop it. Well, this person asked that. His opponent said no. And then so he started looking at the game again. And he was like, well, you have no chance to win or whatever. And she was like, I'm not going to concede, dude. And he went to like start explaining more how he was going to win. And I was like, you need to stop talking right now. Because like the alternative is I'm going to give you a bunch of points for doing something you're really not supposed to.
Points are bad. Points are bad in Star Wars.
Yes, yes. So I did not want to do that. So it might have seemed harsh that that's what I said, but the alternative is you would have gotten
And
more than just a warning.
that's one thing that you'll learn, and something that I've learned from doing all the different Pokemon events. You have to be able to let them have a bit of that conversation, but the moment that the conversation is finished and not progressing, you need to be pretty quick to nip it in the bud so there is a resolution to that game or that match. So I definitely think that from what you described, you did the right thing. That person clearly did not want to concede. You need to proceed and finish the game.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, we've kind of talked about a little bit as far as pet peeves, difficulties, problems in other games. We can go into that even more if we want to, but
Mm.
the next thing, as far as like Altered is concerned, and judging as a whole, I guess, is with it being a new game compared to other more established ones in general. Um, is there, or I guess even being a different style of game compared to some other TCGs, can you think of any difficulties we may see in the future? Any that you encountered at PAX U, or just any similar comparisons you might draw?
The biggest difficulty I think we encountered at PAX U, there were two, and they were both theoretical difficulties. First one, Equinox Stealth published a rulings clarification on Thursday night about how Haven Bravos Bastion, that line of text when it is on a unique, how it is supposed to work. And there was no public announcement about it. The way that characters you control gain when played from reserve, they gain a boost. If that was on a unique previously under the tournament rules and the gameplay rules, that card would gain a boost itself when it enters. They stealth errated it on Thursday morning so that it does not apply that way because it was only supposed to apply to other cards in your reserve, not itself. So we had to make a theoretical ruling that if it came up, we would be playing the card as written the original way because we didn't want to make players have a deck that they intended to play for this event, and then not know about this change because it wasn't published, and then be completely screwed out because of something they weren't aware of. So we made the executive decision that we were going to play it as written, the way that it previously was working before the errata. Um, Future events will not be that way, but this one, because it was just such a quick turnaround that players could not adapt, that's how we ruled it. The other one, and Cole, you can go into this one, was communication during 2v2.
Yeah, I don't know. People, of course, made it out to be a lot bigger of a thing than it needed to be going into it. There was a huge discussion back and forth in the Discord. There were people asking us questions at the time of, and I was really happy that we had Justin there, Justin
Yeah.
Parnell, the organized play manager for North America, because there's a certain point where as a judge, there's not things written for things that can come up. And so having either a head judge or the organized play person there was really helpful. So if we couldn't answer it 100%, we sent them to Justin, but it was you're only supposed to talk with your opponent or your partner if your opponents can hear and see it. Doesn't mean they have to understand it because obviously we can't tell everyone to speak English only
Yep.
or vice versa. Can't
Yep.
tell everyone to speak French only. But I think in the actual event, how it ran, it was really cool to see the conversations and how they worked out, and it's actually really awesome to see a team communicating with each other out in the open, trying to figure out what to do while their opponents are sitting right there. I think it's actually way cooler than trying to hide it and be sneaky.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
Nice. So, I guess a few things learned there, and I'd be interested to see if how that 2v2 development continues with like conversations. I know there
Yeah.
was a big hubbub
Mhm.
about it on the Discord a few different
It was,
times.
like I said, it was a theoretical problem. It was not a real problem. So we had to have a game plan in case it came up and have an answer, but it was not something that ever came up in the tournament itself. But it's always good to have a backup plan just in case something goes wrong.
Yeah, we
yeah,
just need to have Justin there for all events in North
He
America at
probably
all
will be,
times.
at least the major ones.
yeah,
all
I am
local
okay
store
with that.
championships too.
All right, that's going to be racking up those travel miles. Yeah, there were a couple teams that had secret codes, secret hand symbols or
There
whatnot, but
the winning team, and the winning team was crazy. One of the players was a show magician that knew secret code phrases and like coding into regular English language that they were able to teach their partner so they could discuss cards in their hand without ever giving up information. It was insane. They didn't ever show me how they did it, but like they said that they have been a performing magician for like over a decade, and it's something that they do just naturally that they can do, and they just taught it to their partner for the event, which I thought was really cool.
I just want to let anyone that's watching this know that I took 3 years of high school American Sign Language. So
Yeah.
just let me know if you guys want a 2v2 partner in the future. Anyway, going into some more judge related items, we already have the comprehensive rules, tournament guidelines, some sneaky stuff that you mentioned before on the website in general. Um, all those things in that we have available to us. Do you have a proverbial like wish list of other things you'd like to see as far as being a judge or even a community member that might be helpful in developing this part of our community?
So with my experience in the games that I've been a judge for, they have well-rounded developed judge programs that are official in some way, shape, or form, and they get acknowledged officially by the company that makes the game. With Altered, I would ideally like to see that down the road, where there are some section of qualifications you can do to show that you have judge competency, and then have that be a qualifying test to be a judge for these events. But that's not something that I think is on Equinox's radar for the first little bit. In comparing it to newer card games, I don't believe Lorcana has a judge program yet, even though they have volunteers for events. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't touched the game since set two.
It doesn't.
It doesn't have a judge program officially.
It's just like a little
Sure.
side thing that they all have.
And
I have someone at my locals who's like really upset about it because he does all kinds of
mhm,
judging for Lorcana.
sure.
But yeah.
And I think that that's something that I would like to see down the line. But for now, there's an unofficial judge Discord that has some of the game developers in it that help clarify those rules. And then having the tournament rules that we had published before the event were very nice because it let us find information about the tournament. So we have direct lines of contact to a lot of people at Equinox just through the Discord. A lot of people that have those decision making say. So that helps alleviate a lot of the stress by not having an official judging program. But as of right now, I think that the program is just judging in general with Altered is probably where it should be, being a set in and like not set to being on the horizon.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty spot on. Star Wars does have a official judge program with certifications. So I had to certify up to a certain level to be
Hmm.
able to judge the Dallas PQ. I assume that'll be the end goal for Altered. I think there's benefits to either side. The benefit of right now is it's all very small, very grassroots. So we can just get it and go. uh, the downside is there's not that huge, program and everything, but I'm sure it'll be coming. For wishes and things that I would like, I think they're going to happen already. But one of it wasn't really a pain point, but it would be super useful to be able to read everyone's uniques in a tournament before. There was a Capelia that we had to double check in the judge Discord. We also had to double check that we weren't ruling it the new way versus the old way because of the recent errata.
Yeah.
So Altered, I think in general has a leg up on a lot of card games, like especially compared to Magic, where if you're watching this for some reason and you still hate the QR code, it is very good for tournament play because you
Very
can
good.
scan the card, see what it's supposed to say now. If it's a card in French, you can see the English version or Spanish, whatever, vice versa.
And the
Um,
card pages themselves also have common rulings
mhm.
questions that have been answered with timestamps from Equinox staff. So, like on the official website, you can see common rulings on things, which is something that a lot of card games do not have. That Altered, like you said, with the QR code and digital aspect, have as a bonus.
Yep. So you don't want to deck check every single deck, especially when you get up over 100 participants. But from my understanding, all of that will be housed within the Altered website, including the tournament software for the most point, the deck checks, things like that. So I would think as a judge, it would be very good to at least check over each of the uniques in a tournament going in. Or I'm going to bring a magnifying glass, and instead of having to lean over someone's shoulder, I'll just kind of like
Your
see
little
what that unique
peepers get
says.
binoculars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can jump on board with that, not so much from the judging aspect, but from like a commentary and analysis type of thing. Just the idea of having the uniques ahead of time and potentially being able to back in production them on the screen when they're played because it's really hard to see anything. You can tell it's being played just because you know the cards, but not necessarily the unique, and you kind of have to infer what is happening as it happens a little
Yeah.
bit. Which, if you know the effects for a lot of the uniques, is doable, but is not always the easiest thing, and you usually have to wait a little bit to figure it out. So, yeah. Um, but yeah, I guess wrapping up the judging aspect of all of this, is there any advice you would give to someone who is looking to get into being a judge, either within Altered or that may not have previous experience? I know the Discord for judging was mentioned in general, but yeah, Simon.
Read the rules and wording channel in the main Discord. There's questions in there that happen a lot. Sometimes they're common questions, and if it's a common one, you become familiarized with it so you can know the answers, such as what happens when a character has both anchored and fleeting? That's something that comes up a large amount of time, which gets answered pretty easily. But just paying attention to the common questions that people will have in there definitely helps you become familiar with different things that may come up throughout the course of a game. Um, and then just asking people if they locally need a judge for events and becoming a local like rules knowledge person can help a lot with your validity, and just staying on top of that sort of thing means that people will respect you as a rules person and they'll know to come to you if they have questions.
Yeah, I would say first step, decide if you want to be a more competitive player or a judge, because you can't really be
You can't
both,
do both. No.
at least not at the same event. And most of the time, there's going to be one big event near you, so you're going to have to
Um,
make that decision. I would also say, if you decide to be a judge, realize it's a job.
yep.
It's not about the perks. The perks are nice, but they're just a bonus. And then a more technical step would be, as of now, since there's no official judge program, stores can't request judges, things like that. Look at what conventions are coming up and see if they need convention staff. Whether that's for Altered, Star Wars, anything else, it'll start getting your foot in the door and get you some experience. And if you are wanting to work a convention as a job, you probably won't see the convention very much.
Yep.
You can feel
You
free to
can't
reach
be
out to
upset
me.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If you reach out to me, I will give you the information I have on what companies usually hire, or if I get clued into the next one coming up, I can share that with you as well. But it is the way to start. It's how I started with just about everything, was working conventions. So yeah, also what Simon said, getting connected with your store, going to your store. If the store doesn't have a set judge for Altered, maybe you can kind of help with that, or whatever they need.
Yeah, so what I got out of that was just message Cole for anything that you possibly need on Discord. I'll link him
True.
down in the description.
I
But yeah,
will
no,
Thank
allow
you.
it.
Well.
but yeah, I appreciate that,
Um,
guys. So past that, I'll grab some socials from you if you want them to go on the description. But any shout outs before we wrap things up?
um, there's a few that I would like to do. Biggest ones are definitely Maddox faction and Mundungu from the AWOL Discord. They made it to the finals of one of the Hero's Journey events at PAX Unplugged. And the winner, Mundungu, let me reveal the card in the Discord because of everything that I've done for AWOL. He was the one that wanted me to share it. And then Maddox faction donated some of the prizing that they won as additional prizing for AWOL. So now I've been able to pay out for the Monday tournaments as well, which was something I was planning on switching to do anyways with the next season, but I didn't have enough product to do so with this most current season. So those two really helped out on that manner. Secondly, I want to shout out the staff for the PAX Unplugged event. We really couldn't have done it without everybody that was there, from our scorekeeper to our demo staff to our floor judges. There was a lot of different work that needed to be put in, and everybody did a great job with it. The vibes were great from the staff side all weekend, and I had an amazing time. So, shout out to them for helping make the event so memorable. And then just everybody that takes part in the AWOL events. There was a lot of people that came up to me throughout the weekend that told me how much the events meant to them, how they wouldn't be playing as much competitive if it wasn't for AWOL. And just seeing that sort of like support that I received from running those events was just, it meant the world to me. So all of you that continue to play in AWOL, be a part of those servers and play in those online community events, you all are the lifeblood of the game, and we really wouldn't be able to do the things we do if we didn't have the players like you. So thank you for being part of something great that we're able to make.
All right, Cole, good luck topping that. Go ahead.
I will not try to. Well, I guess I am topping it in the sense that I'm going to put a cherry on top, but not trying to do better. Yeah, I would agree with all of that, and I really do appreciate the team behind Altered.
Yeah.
I've demoed a couple different games. I've worked at different conventions, and it's not just because I love the game that I'm saying this, but they have by far been the best team to work with. They've treated me the best as demo staff. I still have one of every demo deck from when I first did the roadshow. Like, there's a thank you card. I have like 7 shirts now. And it might surprise you to know that sometimes other games make you send all of that back and you don't get to keep it. So I also just appreciate how receptive they are to the community. For specific shoutouts, just look up Altered Corner on everything. The website has local events if you are in Texas, or you can join ACE or AWOL. I haven't put Keelon Guys bi-weekly on there yet, but I'm sure I'll get it on there eventually. And let the 3 of us know what type of altered English content you want to see, whether in the comments of this video, in our DMs, in the main Discord, whatever. Because what will motivate me is someone saying, I want to see this, so then I'll do it. But I'm lazy for now and doing other stuff like making too many things on Canva. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely helpful. Otherwise, I just guess, and sometimes I guess wrong. And so,
Having informed guesses is very helpful. So
yeah, people usually tend to like certain things, so you can give it a shot. But either way, feel free to comment. I love comments, algorithm. Anyway, yeah, I'll end things off a little bit to say thank you for you both for showing up and taking time out of your days. And also just setting everything up as far as like online events and a variety of other things. I don't know how many times I've started talking to somebody and they're like, I don't know if I can get involved. There's not really anything around me or stores or anything like that. And I told them, well, there's online events you can definitely play and do that kind of stuff. And it got them really interested in general to keep on playing and invest a little bit more time into it, even when they felt like they didn't have anything locally to play. So I appreciate that. And past that, I'll just say goodbye. Thanks again, and catch you later.
yeah.